Thank you for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. On the scene of shit. Today we talking about quick update to Byron Allen Supreme Court case with Comcast and why I think that man might have actually lost that damn case. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I'm dropping. Don't forget to check out my Teespring. Got coupons floating around these days. So yeah, fuck with it. If y'all have your notifications on, you probably saw my community post. Everybody check out the store. Got coupons for y'all. Get y'all nice little last minute shoppings or last minute grabs for the year go out. You just want to spend something for tax time jump. Some shit like that. For tax come through, you want to spend a little bit to show you know how to do it. Fuck with your boy. Know what I mean? So, the case of Byron Allen. Look, so this is something that we know enough about. Let me run to the chat right fast. There we go. So, this is a case that we've been watching, and couple days ago, a story came out that one of Comcast's top investors, named Scott Stringer, sitting up talking about, hey, Comcast needs to withdraw from this case, need to go on and settle up with Byron Allen, and all of this. Scott Stringer, he's their top investor. Damn, he has the most money invested in them. He's this really rich guy. He's New York's comptroller. And he's trying to pressure Comcast to withdraw from the Supreme Court lawsuit against Byron Allen, or their appeal to Byron Allen's lower court decision or whatever. His rationale is like, say, this is affecting the civil rights of black people. We don't want to affect the civil rights of black people. We'll look bad. Black folks are our customers. We don't want to upset our customers. Some real bottom liner investor kind of talk coming from the dude. Typical investor talk, right? And he thinks that Comcast should withdraw from their suit against Byron. So I got a few questions about this, and just things that just kind of spin in my mind when I see certain things like this, And I'm sure y'all have a few questions yourself. Primarily, my questions are for Byron Allen. Like, if I had to talk to Byron Allen right now, if he was in my presence right now, I'd be like, say, Byron, what are you going to do if they end up withdrawing this lawsuit? I put up a tweet earlier in the week about this. Like, what you going to do if Comcast says, all right, we won't press you at the Supreme Court. We'll let the lower court, the Ninth Circuit Court, where he beat them in this lawsuit, we'll let that judgment stand, and we'll settle with you. But my questions still sit. Like, what is Byron Allen going to do if they withdraw the suit? Is he going to become a model black citizen all of a sudden? People forget he put a lot of capital behind this in terms of rallying up people. He got at black people on some last minute shit, some shit he had going on, and he riled up black people. He was able to get us riled up at some last minute juncture in his life. That's what he did with us. So I got a Byron Allen picture up here. Let's put him up here. Go Byron Allen right there. I always make sure to put his wife in the picture so everybody know who his money go to. Don't nobody need to forget that shit. So he's been rounding up people behind this. I'm like, all right, man, what's up? You finna become a model black citizen all of a sudden? We've been talking this whole week about exchange, and that topic came up a few times over the past couple months. Just exchange with people. But what's the exchange, Byron Allen? What kind of exchange can we expect out of you? Somebody who's been at a distance from black society. This is something we all know. We know Byron Allen been hard to find. Nigga been MIA for a long ass time with black people. We've been talking about him having a distance from the black community. And we kind of rank him up there with other motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about black community that be at a distance on some shit. On some Oprah shit. Who we could give two fucks about, right? Just to give an example. Somebody, he's looking like somebody we ain't had no real exchange with. This very rich individual as a group. In a very damn long time, man. We don't know how long. So I'm asking, like, what does something like a settle up or settling or whatever they want to term this as, what does something like that mean? Or what will it look like if it is to happen? Is Byron Allen going to be investing in new black media? Is he going to be putting his money down for shit like that? Is he going to put us in his platforms? Feed his platform with strong black media. Shit we've been talking about, we've been wanting for a long ass time. There's been a big complaint that he's been totally deaf to the concerns of black society and a strong black media coming through his pipeline. We know this, right? So because that's been his issue, kind of like, we put them off a little bit. Like, all right, man, what's your offering to the world, man? You've kind of been slighting us. It's too many people with money that's been slighting the black community. Said Oprah. Motherfucking Tyler Perry. Y'all know his first little production he made out of his little studio that he got. His new little studio ranch, whatever shit. His little publication. His first thing he put out, it was just one thing where, I don't remember the name of this shit, but all I know is that some black chick was getting beat up by this white dude that's supposed to be the president. She was getting beat up. On the first episode, she getting beat up by the white president. Swirling, and a black chick getting beat up. That's Tyler Perry shit. It's like, alright, bitch. Tyler Perry. I mean, that's what your first offering is from your studio, dog? Alright. Word. So, Byron's behavior, I'm just looking at it like, man, come on, like, is he going to come back filling a blank in new black media? Is he going to fill a gap that we've been missing? Using the same media that's tried to help him. Is he going to turn back to the media that's tried to help him this whole time? People that have tried to give him a narrative. We made sure all the antennas got up around his story. It was motherfuckers like new black media. Richard Ray, what's good, big bro? What's happening? Just talking about Byron Allen case, man, and what he gonna do if they fuck around and say, okay, you win, we sorry, with Comcast. But I'm finna get into a little bit why I don't think they even have no reason to do that. I think that man done lost his case. That's what I'm getting to. I'm just pressing it and walking up to it, big bro. Good seeing you. But just think about that first. My first point is like, man, what is your overall exchange with black community, Byron Allen? Somebody in my comments was like, say, man, at the Supreme Court, motherfuckers was getting tickets and shit, waiting on Byron Allen and fucking around with him and his little photo ops and all that. Motherfuckers was getting tickets, fucking around with him. I'm thinking, damn, is he at least gonna pay for them tickets that people caught playing with him in this? You know what I'm saying? Like, just something little. Like, come on, Byron. I'm like, what's up, dog? We don't know, man. You at least finna pay for that? Anyway, I want y'all to consider this. I finally finished with the oral arguments for his case. I tried to listen to it, but it's kind of hard to catch when you listen to it all the time because people are interrupting and cutting. So I spent today just going through the transcript, reading this whole thing. I read the whole motherfucking thing, man. Man, and the case that was made by Comcast lawyers, man, I think they killed this nigga in court. They killed this motherfucker. I don't think, man, that nigga lost. I'm not trying to predict the future, but I'm gonna put on my P-Stradamus hat. I'm not too wrong about certain shit, man. I think that nigga lost, dog, for real. And I remember I was saying, look, ain't nothing in this case that I've heard so far from what I was listening to. I heard nothing that talked about the common man's rights being violated, because people have been saying that, right? The issue is, if you don't remember, was this but-for causality in terms of race discrimination law and motivating factor in race discrimination law. Basically, if somebody don't want to do business with you or fire you or some shit like that, the but-for clause says your firing would not have occurred but for your race. Is that causality? Motivating factor is, well, we fired you and race was one of the factors amongst other things. So that's two standards that exist in law. People was talking about the Civil Rights Act 1866. That's a precedent that just says, look, you can't be discriminated in government and private contracts. You can't be discriminated against on behalf of race in employment, things like that. You can't be discriminated on behalf of race. In this particular part where we're talking about but for and motivating factor, that's not in the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Some people might think that. It's in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title 7. And there's two parts in Title 7. One part speaks to but for. The other part speaks to motivating factors. There's two parts of one provision in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that you can use either one, either or. It's an either or kind of thing that you got to run the court with. You're either going to run the court with but for or run the court with motivating factor, right? You would assume an elementary school brain motherfucker would understand that it's either one or the other that you're going to run the court with, right? I'm going to tell you why I'm framing it like that. You're going to see why. Dred Scott, remember that? Yes, I remember Dred Scott, Richard Ray. Yeah. I mean, they brought up all kind of court cases in this one trial. All kind of cases got brought up, bro. All kind of cases was brought up. I want to say that, people was talking about, oh, this is going to gut the Civil Rights Act 1866. Hell no, man. There's so many case laws that they brought up. Some speaking to motivating factor, others speaking to but for, where but for won or where motivating factor won. Motherfucker, there's so much federal precedent. Motherfucker, they could get rid of the Civil Rights Act 1866, and it's just still going to be the same. It ain't shit affecting motherfuckers. More people thinking it like that. I'm not a lawyer or nothing, or a judge, but I brought up judge work when I did my review on this shit, and my talk about Byron Allen's progression through this shit. I think a judge no more than lawyers. Motherfucker, I know how to read. How about that? How about reading, goddammit? But my point is, man, I think Comcast lawyers killed the fuck out of this nigga, man. I ain't even finna front, man. They killed this nigga, man. They killed this nigga, man. He was sitting up talking about, the lawyers on Comcast side was like, man, early on, they stomped his ass out. They was like, look, so you sitting up talking about your networks are all this high value and high valued and you the shit. You got the clout. We should have put you on type shit. Reading is a riff, good old riff. Yeah, that's what's up, Richard Ray. Sitting up talking about, man, you talking about you got all the cloud and shit. We supposed to put you on, put your networks on, but you've been suing to get clout. You ain't got the clout, nigga. You've been suing to get clout. Byron Allen didn't have all this clout as he was coming up in the lower courts. Remember, he was suing three companies at the same time. He was suing AT&T, he was suing Uverse, DirecTV, I'm sorry, AT&T suing DirecTV, and he was suing Comcast. This was all at the same time. So to act like he got all this fanship and network play, motherfuckers is like, nah, man, you was suing us. This is what Comcast said early on in the whole transcript. Like, man, look, man, you ain't really have all this clout, nigga. You ain't have all this paper and all this capital and all this shit going on. You ain't have all this people attention. You ain't have all this people power, nigga. You were suing us and other people at the same time to get the clout. Then you want to come around talking about, oh, I got the clout now. Yeah, why y'all ain't giving me no? Why y'all ain't putting me on? What you mean, motherfucker? You suing everybody around you to get a certain prestige amongst motherfuckers, but that don't mean that you could probably sustain an audience. I don't know how they rationalize it, but it's like, motherfucker, you suing the clout up. You ain't organic with your shit. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be in the ninth court, the lower court, talking about he got all this clout, carry my shows, or else you're being racist. Comcast saying, man, that shit don't pass the smell test. And the judges was like, you know, the main argument that we've been hearing people in different circles in black media talking about, hey, man, that but for it. Hey, working bro, what's good, Miss Lady? What's happening with you? Good seeing you. The main thing we've been hearing people, we just talking about what the fuck I think going on with this Byron Allen case and why I don't think this nigga gonna win, judging off what I've read, and I read the whole transcript, the whole court transcript. I don't think this nigga gonna win. I think this nigga gonna lose. Second reason to look at, man, like this whole thing about but for that everybody has been jumping up and down about, oh, but for, it's hard to prove but for. It's hard to prove that race was the only reason that you fired somebody, or that you didn't fuck with somebody for some contract, or that you didn't sign somebody on to your entity or whatever. And the judges was like, man, why you so mad about but for? Basically, I'm just saying it in how I talk. They're like, man, you know, why you so mad about but for? If racism is so reasonable a cause, this is how they worded it. If racism is so reasonable a cause, why you so scared to prove but for? They some crafty motherfuckers, man. They some crafty motherfuckers. And I was like, okay, y'all some crafty motherfuckers to think of it like that. I never thought of it like that. They was like, hey, man, if Comcast is so racist and not including you in their pipeline, if they so racist, why don't you just prove but for? Just prove it. If it's so reasonable a reason. I'm like, you know, it kind of do make sense, but I ain't, you know, I'm not weighing one aspect against another and saying, yo, this nigga is gonna lose. I'm saying these motherfuckers, they had his lawyer buckling, is what I want to get at. Like, by the end of the whole shit, they had the lawyer buckling. And that's not a good looking court when your lawyer is agreeing with the judges saying, yo, we just gonna dismiss this shit, right? That's what happened by the end, if y'all ain't know. By the end of it, the lawyer was like, I guess we gotta go to the lower court type shit. This other, yo, the motherfucker was not confident at all. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, that shit was crazy. You know, but for is just one causality. You know what I mean? Like, I was just explaining, like, but for is just one causality that somebody got to prove, right? There's plenty of legal precedent for motivating factor. I don't want y'all to forget that. Like, a lot of us went into this court case just kind of imbibed with what people have been telling us about the case. Like Byron Allen and Antonio Moore, people like that have been telling us about the case. I just want y'all to understand a few things that, as far as having legal precedent for it, like, there's a lot of cases that have won under but for, and motherfuckers have went to the Supreme Courts and have won and have proven but for cases. Byron being challenged with that, or his entity being challenged with that, entertainment studios being challenged with doing that, it's not something that don't get done. Alright? I want y'all to recognize that. So it ain't like, it's not insurmountable as it's been sold and packaged to us. People like Byron Allen and Antonio Moore, they've been packaging to us like this shit is insurmountable. And his lawyer went up there talking that shit, and it was like, nah, man, we got all these cases where you can prove but for, dog. Just prove it. You know what I mean? You just got to have a lawyer that's smart enough to prove it. From my analysis. Like, goddamn, like, they brought up a bunch of different cases from both sides. But for and motivating factor type shit. And what really put the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, this is why I really think sunk this man's case, is that Byron Allen's lawyer, his name is, what's his name? I can't pronounce it. It's a long, weird ass name. Germeshamil, some weird ass name. Do I have it anywhere? His lawyer, this is what killed his case, y'all. The Supreme Court was like, say, man, you know, when you pled this case to us, you pled this case to us on the grounds of motivating factor. Because that was what came up out of the Ninth Court. Out of the Ninth Court, what came out was race was a motivating factor in Byron Allen not being able to get down with Comcast or whatever. But then they caught his ass up in the paperwork. That was like, but look, Comcast asking that you prove but for, and you're bringing to us but for information. Let me get to this. Show you what he did. Pull up couple of things here. Okay, so they was like, look, man, you know, you're pleading motivating factor, but in trial, you're presenting us but for shit. You're presenting us but for shit in court. His statement from the transcript, it says, we do actually allege but for causation in the complaint. I mean, if you look at the complaint itself, and I can direct you to the specific paragraph of the complaint, it says but for causation in paragraph 103 of the complaint. It says the denial of the contract was, and I'm going to quote the words, on account of race. So him saying on account of race, he's like, okay, so y'all are saying that they basically told the dude, look, man, what you're presenting, you got to make sure that it's in alignment with what you pled with, because in federal case law, like, motherfuckers don't come in pleading on something like motivating factor and then go to trial on but for. That's not what they were there to do. They was like, look, man, you came in motivating factor, present motivating factor, but don't try to list off into shit like but for. And he was like, well, because they caught his ass up. It was like, look, man, they caught his ass up on prove but for. They kept pushing him into but for, but for, but for. He really couldn't wrangle that away from him. The whole back and forth, he couldn't really wrangle them away from, say, man, what's up with but for? Just prove that shit. He really couldn't pull them away from that. It was like, look, man, so if I tell you, they gave an example. So look, if you try to come to a hotel where I'm at, and I say, look, man, you can't fuck with me in this hotel. You can't come to this hotel because we don't got no rooms. And because you black, there's multiple but fors. It's because you're black and because we don't got no rooms. Who's to distinguish? You have to, when you come into the courtroom, you got to say, look, man, Comcast is coming at you. They're bringing you to court saying, look, motherfucker, bring but for. Prove to us that this is what it was, that it was exactly on race. So they're doing all these mind fucks on the dude, psyching the dude out. And and the lawyer was like, well, look, you know, we could prove but for, but then, you know, what we really want to do is just, he tried to steer it a little bit back to motivating factor. Like, well, nah, man, like, so basically you're saying the lower court was wrong, right? By you even bringing up but for and even acquiescing to us that, okay, there's a reason of because of race, and saying that, you saying specifically because of race, because he came in, he came in talking about on account of race. And it was like, hey man, you can't do that. That's dumb. You can't plead on motivating factor and trial on something different. So you saying that the lower court was wrong? You saying that should be dismissed? And he was like, well, I don't know. He was like, hold up. So are you gonna answer our question? They caught this motherfucker up. They caught him up basically, y'all. They caught his ass slipping so many different ways past Sunday. The shit was crafty how they did this shit. They caught him up just with just hypothetical examples they threw at his ass. The lawyer was very unprepared. If y'all read the transcript, they caught his ass up so swell, man. Oh man, it was genius. Just reading shit, it was like, man, they really killed his ass. That's what I'm saying. I think this man lost his case because by the end of the whole thing, man, after he got through with his back and forth, and they was like, all right, so basically you need to take this back to the lower court, sitting up talking about anything having to do with but for that you can't prove. When you also came in pleading on motivating factor, you fucking up all kind of ways. Take this disorganized ass case back to the Ninth Circuit and see what happens there. What they want to do, this is what I think. They're gonna have Byron gonna give all that money back. That's the fact. I don't think he's gonna be able to escape having to give all that money back. They ain't probably cut the check yet, but they're gonna reverse that judgment. Then the AT&T, what's gonna happen? They gonna come in and say, hold up, well, motherfucker, you came on this motivating factor with us too, because he won those cases on motivating factor. Oh, you beat us on motivating factor. Well, we gonna challenge you now. They're gonna take Byron Allen money like a motherfucker. DirecTV gonna come in and do the same thing. Well, they merged, so I don't know how they're gonna flip that. They might fuck around and be like, yeah, Byron Allen, we're gonna hit your ass with a big ass $100-something million lawsuit, $120-something million lawsuit with all the companies combined, your motherfucking ass, or billions of dollars. However many is gonna add up to, I don't know what they're gonna do. They might try to add all kind of extra shit. They're gonna be like, look, man, yeah, we want all that money back. That's what I'm thinking. Like, they're gonna try to run this court case backwards. Years. He's been in court for years with this shit. And the way they ended it was so fucking fly, man. Damn, it was so fly the way Comcast ended their arguments. After that lawyer got through basically fronting on the judges like, look, man, you can't bring us two cases, dog. Make up your mind. But don't do it here. Don't do it in the Supreme Court. Make up your mind at the lower court. You should probably dismiss this shit. We probably gonna dismiss this shit. Comcast step up to the plate. Back to my point. They step up to the plate. They like, man, I just want to let you know that, we had to remember understanding some black entertainers like Puffy and I guess they're musicians. He said, I guess they're musicians. He didn't want to act like he ain't know that Puffy and Magic Johnson were musicians, but he was basically trying to say, look, we got black folk that was selling out too. Just want to add a little insult to the insult that this motherfucker is putting up on this court. We had a little more insult. Yo, motherfucking Puffy and Magic Johnson, yeah, they motherfucking asses was involved too. Little niggas on some cool ass shit, sell out niggas. Yep. Okay, well, thank you. They basically ended it after that. Like, it was no more to say. Now, I don't know if there's any other oral arguments past that. It was a whole hour worth of them talking. I don't think there's much more past that. I don't think there's nothing else they would have to say about this case. But the fact that this dude is trying to push this case, yo, I don't know if he's going to win. The fact that he's trying to push it on these merits, the judges did not seem like they was feeling this man, in my estimation. Again, I'm not no lawyer. I'm just, doing some Peastradamus shit. I'm predicting. Give me enough facts, I can kind of predict where something is going to land in just sensible situation. But man, yo, just reading that shit. If y'all read that, y'all will be blown back. Like, damn, this motherfucker got caught up like a bitch. He got caught up seriously. But through the whole thing, I ain't hear nothing about no common man. Back to that point, I ain't hear nothing about no common people finna be affected by this. Common people finna be affected if this don't go this way. There's enough precedent both ways on some but for causality or some motivating factor causality. It ain't no stripping of the Civil Rights Act 1866. That's not happening. I knew Judge Joe Brown was right with that shit. That's not what this whole shit is about. I wish motherfuckers would just read the shit. Wish people would just read it instead of having people dictate to them what the fuck the shit is. There's enough legal precedent on all sides for motherfuckers to come to court pushing either side, but for a motivating factor, you just gotta come in with that shit. You understand? You gotta come in with what the judge wanna hear, what you pled on. You gotta come in with that. Or else that's your ass if you fuck it up. Right? Saying? So they gonna want all that motherfucking money back, is what I'm gonna say. AT&T, DirecTV, they gonna come for that nigga money. I'm gonna put my Peace with Diamonds hat on for that shit. And we'll see what happens June of next year. And my next question is for Comcast, kind of in a way, like, you know, I got questions for Byron, like if he do end up pulling a settlement, I don't know if they gonna, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Even though the New York comptroller came up talking that shit, talking about, oh, y'all should go on and let this case be. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. But let's just say, for the sake of arguing, let's say that he do settle or whatever. Then a few questions come to mind, like what Comcast gonna do? What the fuck Comcast gonna do? Are y'all going to not have these coon ass niggas around y'all no more, like Mark Morial and Al Sharpton? You finna leave them basically to the wolves to try to find some other white nuts to nestle up under and to try to sell out niggas with, you know what I'm saying? Like using white nuts to sell out black people under. You gonna jettison your resident coon that you could just sign up and call up to vouch for you? I mean, that's some real shit. Like, are you gonna get rid of them niggas? Leave them niggas to the wilderness? Thinking about that shit, right? Another thing, damn, Comcast, y'all motherfuckers pushing that Harriet garbage. Y'all pushing that Harriet garbage. Are y'all gonna, if y'all do end up settling and doing that shit, which I don't see how, but if y'all end up settling, like y'all gonna stop pushing that Harriet garbage? Y'all finna apologize to the black community for pushing that Harriet shit? What kind of remorse or incentive is black society gonna get on behalf of some shit like that, on account of some fuck shit like that? Like, what y'all gonna do for that? You know what I'm saying? They tried to brush all the criticism aside that they've got behind this, and all the Sambo motherfuckers been blaming us for that movie being a fucking flop all day, all night, day through the fucking night. What up, Dr. Lele? What up, John Mitchell? Dark Child Williams. What's good? You know what I'm saying? Comcast ain't came out though. Comcast ain't came out saying, say, man, y'all got every right to be offended about this bullshit we did. We'll never do some disrespectful shit like this to y'all ever again. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really heard that type of shit. And, you know, my thing with Byron is like, goddamn, man. What's up, man? Like, you got black society doing a lot of jigging for you, dog. A lot of niggas been jigging. Watermelon jigging for your ass. For you to just go in there and fuck up in court like that, dog. Like, he ain't even take that shit seriously. Saying like, man, the lawyer in that bitch looking like this. Do the pocket knife. Do the pocket knife. Do the pocket knife. You know what I'm saying? Lawyer didn't even take that shit seriously. It seemed like the way they ended it was like, look, so you think we should just dismiss this shit at the lower court, right? They checking his ass, man. Like, oh. You know what I'm saying? He ain't win. You're supposed to win, dog. You the lawyer? Yo, win. Check that shit out. Dr. Lily say Dyson tripping defending that trash movie. Oh man, no, Michael Eric Dyson. Yeah, man, he doing another book or a movie or something. I think it's a book. He doing a Jay-Z book or a movie or some shit like that. You know, he did that Pac Holla If You Hear Me, and he just based his whole last 15 years of his career off that shit. A little longer than that. Damn near 20 years of his career off of some Holla If You Hear Me. Now coming out with a Jay-Z book. Like, man, you ain't hip, nigga. Niggas ain't trying to hear you, dog. Hear you sit up and talk about what you think about rappers, nigga. You too old. Stop that shit, dog. You not a Jay-Z scholar, nigga. My niece is more of a Jay-Z scholar than you, nigga. My cousin more of a Tupac scholar than you, nigga. Like, who you? Why are we listening to Mike Eric Dyson? He's that motherfucker that said Bill Maher was A-OK for using the word nigger on his show. But then when his grandson got caught up at school getting racial slurs thrown at him, it was, racial slurs to my grandson. Oh, this is intolerable. Yeah, I bet it is, motherfucker. But it was okay when Bill Maher did it, so suck it up, dumb motherfucker. Now your kids got to deal with it because you don't stop that type of shit when you see it. And the universe was like, oh, you don't want to stop that type of shit? You want to co-sign motherfuckers insulting black people that are white in your presence? You want to co-sign that shit? Okay, well, if I spin this shit around to your family, then you shouldn't have shit to say. That's how the universe think. Just imagine. I figured this how the universe click, right? He a big ass coon, man. So I don't give a man. Of course he would defend some dumb ass shit like that. The Harry movie. That's my point. Of course his dumb ass would defend some shit like that. He's out on a lamb with cooning. Unbridled cooning. Byron melded back into invisibility after the trial. Because that nigga know he lost, Dr. Lily. I'm telling you. You know he lost. It's getting quiet around the case. It's getting quiet. Ain't nobody rah. I was trying to see if anybody had reviews for this shit. Anybody that had read through the transcript talked about it. Didn't nobody talk about it. So like, okay, so it's kind of a boy in new black media and shit like that. Why ain't nobody talking about it? I checked out our boy Antonio Mora. Yo, he ain't check up on it. I'm like, hold up, dog. Yo, that's your man. Why you ain't check up on him? Why you ain't at least give us a review? Why I gotta be the one? Why I gotta be the one? Why that? Why me? So I figured Tone must have read that transcript too. Like, oh shit, this nigga lost in court like a hoe. Boy, goddamn. That nigga lost like a motherfucker. That's what I would say. That's why I think Tone ain't talking about it. Or you bet. I don't know that nigga. I'm talking about it. See, that's the thing when you got an objective channel, boy, you can talk about whatever you want to. When you're objective and you ain't beholden to no nigga, you can talk about what you want to talk about. Period. So yeah, man. That's the game. Yo, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I'm dropping. Don't forget to check out my Teespring. Y'all know I drop my coupons in the community tab. Check it out. See what nigga got for ya. I'm gonna get at y'all. Y'all have a good night.